KO4YVB mobile, and I am monitoring.
W8VPV. Repeater. Net.
Where's that? K8WTK.
K8WTK, this is KO4YVB mobile. How are you?
Pretty good. I didn't catch the last part of your transmission that was up there. I thought I heard the word emergency.
I just said KO4YVB mobile is monitoring.
Cool. Well, very good. If you wait just about 20 seconds, you'll hear Newsline transmitted over this repeater. So enjoy if you're driving through, and have a very safe trip. KA8WTK.
Sounds good, 73. This is KO4YVB mobile clear.
Good evening, and welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club's Monday evening transmission of Amateur Radio Newsline. My name is Russ, and my call is KD8BYT. But for this presentation of Newsline, I will be using the club call Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. Without further ado, this is Amateur Radio Newsline.
Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2387 with the release date of Friday, July 28, 2023 to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. Hams called QRZ to help a flood-damaged region of Italy. Dangerous conditions cancel a second activation on Rocco and a successful orbit for CubeSats from the Philippines. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2387 comes your way right now.
From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's first independent, on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now, reporting from Wadsworth, Ohio, Stephen Kinford, N8WB.
Italy's flood-devastated region of Emilia-Romagna faces a long period of reconstruction, and hams are involved in providing their own kind of support. Jeremy Booth, G4NJH, brings us the details.
Although some hams may be more familiar with the Emilia-Romagna region of northern Italy as the host of the recent World Radio Sport Team Championship, it is actually now in the amateur radio spotlight for another reason. Remember the call sign 1A0C? Hams will be calling QRZ until the 2nd of August to focus attention on the charitable work being done there by the Italian Relief Corps of the Order of Malta, focusing on the badly damaged Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. The historic deadly floods in May displaced thousands of families, destroyed communities, and threatened to wreck many local industries. A multinational team of amateurs will be on the air from the radio station at the Magistral Villa on the Aventine Hill. The Order of Malta's humanitarian projects are known throughout the world, assisting 120 nations with medical, social, and humanitarian needs. The operators include Fernando, EA5C, Simone, IK5RUN, June, JH4RHF, Dmitry, RA9USU, and others. At the time Newsline was being produced, the team's website was under construction. Visit the QRZ.com page of 1A0C for updates. This is Jeremy Booth, G4NJH.
Soda activators are planning an international tribute to recall the treasured friendship of a ham who became a silent key last year. Enter in. DD5LP gives us the details.
From his shack in Poland, Jarek, SP9MA, is leading the way among his fellow SOTA supporters. He has issued a call to all friends of the beloved ham, known as Guru, who became a silent key in March of 2022. Jarek wrote on the SOTA Reflector that he will begin using the call sign SP59 Guru on January 11th next year, which would have been Guru's 59th birthday. The call sign will remain active through to March 11th, the anniversary of his death. The loss of Jose Antonio Guratazzi Yaregi, EA2IF, to cancer rocked the SOTA community last year, most especially in Europe, where his commitment to radio on the summits began in his native Spain in 2013. Jarek has put out a call to SOTA activators worldwide to join him in this special event activation and to start making plans now, well in advance of January. Though there may be no diplomas or awards for QSOs, Jarek believes the contact itself will provide a memorable moment. In that way, Guru, who left his mark also as a top contester and CW operator, will get another moment with his SOTA brothers and sisters. Or as Jarek wrote on the SOTA Reflector, quote, "I just think that as many hearts as possible would connect with the Guru at that time," end quote. This is Ed Durant, DD5LP.
Radios and other equipment remain on Rockall Island, where a second attempted activation has failed. Jeremy Booth, G4NGH, brings us up to date.
A second and very brief activation of the remote granite islet known as Rockall was called off after hazardous conditions in the North Atlantic had forced the team to return to the mainland. Cam Cameron, Emil Bergman, DL8JJ, and Nobby, G0VJG, set sail on the 16th of July, only to turn back 3 days later after making several passes at Rockall. The hams were hoping to have a second activation, 3 hours of CW and SSB, during their return trip. The trio was travelling to recover radio equipment left there during the June activation at MN0UKI. Emil and Nobby had called QRZ for several days before their departure, leaving Cam on Rockall. In a challenge to benefit charity, Cam was hoping to break the previous 45-day stay record set in 2014. He'd called for rescue in late June after 32 days of exhaustion and hypothermia. Describing the team's failed attempt to return, Emil wrote on the Rockall The Expedition's Facebook page, quote, "Nature has said no. We reached the Rockall without difficulty, but the waves were extremely high. That's the way of life," end quote. So don't be discouraged, the team plans another recovery attempt. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
India's government is looking for a radio operator to join the team at the country's research station in the Antarctic. If you like cold weather, Graham Kemp, VK4BB, tells us what's involved.
A qualified radio operator is among the many posts being advertised for the next Indian Antarctic expedition, with preferences being given to ham or maritime radio operators. The National Centre for Polar and Ocean Research has been interviewing candidates for a variety of contract positions to work at its Antarctic research base beginning in November or December of this year. The research season ends sometime in 2025. Radio communication is considered an essential component of this 43rd expedition, which hopes to look at the ecosystem as well as satellite communication, ionospheric studies, stellar observations and climate change. The government has been seeking a candidate proficient in English. This is Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
Students in the Philippines are feeling proud that their 2 ham radio CubeSats have entered orbit. Jason Daniels, VK2LAW, tells us about their mission.
2 amateur radio CubeSats from the Philippines are now in orbit. Maya 5 and Maya 6 were built by university students with the goal of helping the nation keep its momentum going on satellite development while using locally sourced materials. The primary mission of the CubeSat pair is to give the amateur radio community a digital message relay service through the Automatic Packet Reporting System, or APRS. The onboard APRS digipeaters use the frequency of 145.825 MHz for transmitting as well as receiving. The CubeSats are also demonstrating a data message store and forward system compatible with universal amateur radio text and email messaging. The International Space Station released the CubeSats on the 19th of July. This is Jason Daniels, VK2LAW.
A popular ham radio activity that activates churches and chapels, mainly in the UK, is getting a foothold in the U.S. Kevin Trotman, N5PRE, tells us more about it.
The amateur radio community and the church community in the UK have enjoyed a one-day convergence each September since 2006. That was the year in which John, G3XYF, suggested that CHODA, churches and chapels on the air, could be as viable and important activity as lighthouses, mills, islands, summits, railways, and other on-the-air entities. The activity began simply with his own church, East Yorkshire, where John operated with the special call sign GB0LOW. CHODA, which is organized by the World Association of Christian Radio Amateurs and Listeners, has since grown to include between 20 and 30 churches in the UK, and in some instances, a few churches in the Czech Republic and Germany. This year's event is taking place on Saturday the 9th of September, and just as the CHODA grew in the years following 2006, it leaps across the ocean, now to the Highlands Presbyterian Church in Mississippi, where Frank Howell will be calling QRZ under his own call sign, K4FMH. Other hams using their own call as well are expected to join him on the 16-acre church campus. Frank expects the event to feature stations for SSB, CW, and FTA. There will also be VHF, UHF, and satellite operations. Frank told Newsline in an email, quote, "This is a great fit for our church of about 1,100 members because we seek to reach out to the community to bring them to our campus," end quote. He said that a number of area clubs are involved, as are some hams in the congregation. The church is so ham-friendly, in fact, that the administrator and administrative assistant are planning on taking their technician license exam soon. Frank has already received emails from other U.S. churches inquiring about September's activation. Interested churches should email John and let him know the name and location of the church and the call sign being used. John's email appears in the text version of this week's newscast. CHODA is not a contest, but there are certificates for contacting the stations, and there are rewards just for being part of this goodwill event that's now gone intercontinental. This is Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the K9 DEW repeater in Warsaw, Indiana, on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. What's the one ham radio competition you can enter without turning your rig on? The Amateur Radio Newsline Haiku Challenge. We've been inviting listeners to channel their most creative selves and share the joy of ham radio in the form of a haiku. On our website, arnewsline.org, you will find a submission form. Follow traditional haiku form and send in your entry. The first line is 5 syllables. The second line is 7 syllables. And the finishing third line has another 5 syllables. We cannot accept any other format. We will pick from the best submissions that follow the 5-7-5 syllable rule and represent the love of amateur radio. Your prize, for now, bragging rights, and a featured spot for your haiku on the Amateur Radio Newsline website. We may have a surprise for you at the end of the year, however, so visit our website at arnewsline.org and take a look at this week's winning ham radio haiku. Although the event at the Frontiers of Flight Museum was called Moon Day, Amateur Radio shared the spotlight with the help of AMSAT and 2 area ham clubs. Moon Day was held at the Dallas, Texas Museum at Love Field on July 22nd, the anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission in 1969. The educational event celebrated ham radio communications through satellites while acknowledging the great strides that have been made since that historic lunar landing. AMSAT Ambassador Tom Schussler, N5HYP, told Newsline in an email that AMSAT's presentations focused on amateur radio in space, and with the help of AMSAT's Virginia Smith, NV5F, Calvin Gluck, W7KYG, and Tony Medina, NT5TM, guests learned about the technology behind these communications. The keynote speaker was retired NASA astronaut Shane Kimbrough, KE5HOD. Working alongside AMSAT, the Dallas Amateur Radio Club, W5FC, demonstrated the use of repeaters, Morse code, and the HF bands. A number of young scouts were able to work towards their radio and exploration merit badges. This was the 15th annual Moon Day held at the museum, and Tom told Newsline it will be back again next year. Sunday, July 30th has been set aside for bumblebees. Those are the radio operators who will be operating QRP as they call CQ. Randy Sly, W4XJ, tells us how to be ready for them.
The Adventure Radio Society is hoping for a swarm of bumblebees on Sunday, July 30th. Or at least that's the buzz. For the 4-hour period between 1700 and 2100 UTC, the organizers of a casual CW contest called The Flight of the Bumblebees are encouraging portable operators to walk, bicycle, row, using any means of engine-free travel, and set up a field site. There, they will call CQ with their call sign and a unique identifying bumblebee number assigned to them. For bumblebees, being in the field is important. The society, which was created in 1996, tries to foster the practice of radio operations in an ecologically responsible manner. Now remember, bumblebees are small, so this is going to be a QRP event, and no one will be transmitting more than 5 watts. Typically, these radio bumblebees can be found on 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters around standard QRP frequencies. Who will be looking for them? Other bumblebees, of course, but home-based stations who are also operating QRP can chase the bees or one another. For details, rules, and other information, visit arsqrp.blogspot.com. Bumblebees and home-based stations will be eligible for commendations based on points, but additional recognition will be given to those busy bees who operate from attractive sites, have an unusual adventure, or perhaps operate with some notable equipment. As with such previous contests, this one is sure to create a hive of activity. This is Randy Sly, W4XJ.
In the world of DX, be listening for Francesco IK6QON, operating as IA5/IK6QON from the Isola del Giglio, IOTA number EU028 until the 31st of July. He is on the HF using CW and SSB. See QRZ.com for QSL details. Listen for JA1QQU/6 operating from your own island. IOTA number AF023 from the 27th through the 30th of July. He will be on 10 and 6 meters using FT8 between 2300 and 0200 UTC, and again from 1000 through 1400 UTC. See QRZ.com for QSL details. Lance W7 GJ will be conducting a 6-meter de-expedition as 3B9 GJ from Rodriguez Island, IOTA number AF017, from the 27th of August to the 7th of September. He will be operating on the HF bands as well as doing EME. See QRZ.com under Lance's home call for additional details and QSL information. Franz DJ0TP will be operating as TK/DJ0TP from Corsica's main island, IOTA number EU014, from the 27th of July to the 3rd of September. See QRZ.com for QSL details. Our final story takes us to a park in Florida where a group of POTA activators gathered to share stories and remember the friend who no longer joins them. Dave Parks, WB8ODF, brings us that story.
Amateur radio was good for Jack Hales, W1BBU, following the loss of his wife 6 years ago after a lifetime of nearly 50 years together. Returning to radio restored the grieving widower into a vibrant circle of life. On Sunday, July 23rd, amateur radio was there for Jack again. This time, the Hams were offering a memorial activation at Sawgrass Lake Park in Florida. It was a familiar and frequent operating spot for Jack and his friends during Parks on the Air until Jack's unexpected death on June 13th at the age of 80. One of the 4 radio operators during those 3 hours was Lisa Nuschlar, KC1YL. She said the day's tally of 108 SSB contacts were rich with memories from many POTA enthusiasts who have written Jack's call sign several times in their logs. They traded stories along with signal reports. All contacts from the Sunday activation will receive certificates. The 4 operators' names and call signs appear on them, as well as a photo of Jack. the man whose travels in the military left a mark around the world, including Indonesia, where he helped establish a fledgling amateur radio society. Even as a silent key, Jack is also launching another prospective ham career. His granddaughter, Haley, who had accompanied him and his St. Petersburg Amateur Radio Club friends, is studying for her license. She will likely use her grandfather's shack equipment, and she's hoping his call sign, the same call that belonged to Jack's father. No doubt, like her grandfather, you will soon find her among the tall antennas under the sun at Sawgrass Lake Park. This is Dave Parks, WB8ODF.
Do you have a piece of amateur radio news that you think Newsline would be interested in? We're not talking about advertising your club's upcoming Hamfest or Field Day participation, but something that's out of the ordinary. If so, send us a brief overview via the contact page at airnewsline.org. If it's newsworthy and we would like to cover it, we'll get back to you for more details. With thanks to the Adventure Radio Society, Amateur Radio Daily, AMSAT News Service, CQ Magazine, David Behar, K7DB, 425DX News, Lisa Nuschler, KC1YL, the Monitoring Times, National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, QRZ.com, RockallXfed.com, shortwaveradio.de, Soda Reflector, Tom Schussler, N5HYT, your SAT-SAT1 website, Wireless Institute of Australia, and you, our listeners. That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. We remind our listeners that Amateur Radio Newsline is an all-volunteer, non-profit organization that incurs expenses for its continued operation. If you wish to support us, please visit our website at airnewsline.org and know that we appreciate you all. We also remind our listeners that if you like our newscast, please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you subscribe to us. So for now, with Terry D. Murray, KD2 GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team worldwide, I'm Stephen Kinford, NAWB in Wadsworth, Ohio, saying 73, and as always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
This concludes our Monday evening transmission of Amateur Radio Newsline. Net to start in about 9 minutes.
W8VPV. Repeater.
Good evening. Calling all amateur radio operators. Welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club Monday night VHF UHF net. My name is John and my call is WO3X. However, for the purposes of this net, I'll be using the club call Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor.
W8VPV. Repeater.
This is an open directed net. All amateur radio operators are invited and encouraged to check in. You do not have to be a club member. All traffic will go through net control, and since emergency traffic may break in at any time, please leave a brief pause between transmissions. The purpose of this net is to bring together all amateur radio operators for the exchanging of amateur-related ideas and information, to enhance net operating practices, and to keep members up to date about club happenings. This net meets here every Monday evening at 8:30 p.m. local time, preceded by Amateur Radio Newsline at 8:01. We will start with announcements and then ask for check-ins from any officer or member who has an announcement of general interest to the club. Once that is complete, I'll take check-ins, call signs only, 5 at a time, and confirming each call. Then I'll correspond with those 5 check-ins and ask for 5 more. And when it starts to diminish, I'll go 1-to-1. If you're a regular participant, I'll probably recognize you by call sign. If not, please give your call, repeat it phonetically, followed by your name and your location. And also let me know if you are in and out. When all check-ins have been worked, I will repeat the announcements and then give one last call for check-ins. We also operate a band exploration net at 9:30 p.m. after this net. Please join us if you have the privileges and equipment. This evening, the frequency will be on 12 meters at 24.972 megahertz, upper sideband. That's 24.972 megahertz. And you have to have a general license, at least, to check into this net at 9:30. Okay, so here are the announcements. August 9th will be our business meeting, and we will be discussing the 2024 Hamfest, and we need some Hamfest committee members added to the committee. If you are interested in helping with the Hamfest, I'm not talking about the Friday evening and Saturday morning, but the Hamfest preparation, which takes a few months, then we want you to join the committee, the Hamfest committee. So if you want to join the Hamfest committee, send a message to me at wo3x@cfarc.org. That's Whiskey Oscar 3 X-ray at cfarc.org. And also send one to Bruce, AK8B at cfarc.org. Again, that's AK8B, Alpha Kilo 8 Bravo at cfarc.org, and let us know that you would like to join the Hamfest committee. And let's see, so then August 23rd, there'll be no meeting, no Zoom or anything like that, because we will be having the club picnic. It will be in Waterworks Park, and there'll be a sign-up link coming soon, where you can tell us how many people are going to attend. You have to be a member, and you can have your family members with you. So you can be a club member and have bring family with you. Then on September 13th, we will not have our business meeting, but instead we will have a radio operating activity, and it's called CTTF, which is CFARC to the Field, and that will be like it was last year. It will be on 10 meters, 2 meters, and 6 meters, and the 440 band. And you can the details, there'll be a link for that coming up soon, where you can see what all you can do to score points. And there will be a drawing, a random drawing. It doesn't matter how many points you got or how many contacts you made, how many or how few. Let's see, well, you have to make at least 5 contacts to qualify for the drawing, and it will be a certificate of value from DX Engineering. So watch for that to show up on the calendar, the link for it, and get ready to make contacts that day. It'll go from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. and there'll be some of us out in parks and hike and bike parking lots, setting up to send and receive contacts. And you can also make contacts from home. So you can make contacts from home to a park or hike and bike spot, and hike and bike spots and parks to somebody's home, but not home to home. So that's how that'll work. So again, watch for the details on that. It'll show up on our website as CTTF, and again, that's September 13th in place of our usual business meeting. And like I said, there'll be no Zoom meeting on that. Okay, that's all that I have in the way of announcements. So are there any members or committee people or officers or trustees who have messages? VYT. KD8VYT, I have you checked in, and go ahead, Russ, with your traffic.
Okay, I just want to announce the Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association has planned a night at the ballpark at Canal Park in Akron to watch the Rubber Ducks. And we are inviting other clubs to participate. However, there are only like 26 tickets left. And you go to the Sierra Club website, which is wawky.org, there's an article there where you can click on and purchase tickets. And when you purchase your tickets, you have to print them out and bring the paper to the ballpark. The game is September 2nd at 7:05 p.m. And if you have any questions, I think my name and my email and number are on that article on the website. I'm also available in the CFARC. I assume I'm available in the CFARC roster and the Sarah roster. So if you have questions, give me a call or email me, and I will get back to you. It's going to be a good time. This is a practice run, a trial run, and a learning experience. Everything goes well. Next year we'll do 2 or 3 of them throughout the summer. Anyways, this is KD8BYT, and I'm going to check out because I'm going to go eat dinner. Have a good night.
Okay, Russ, thanks for that. Yeah, I looked that up. That's a Saturday, so that sounds like fun there. So people go to w8wky.org and look for that activity there and sign up and buy your tickets for a September 2nd baseball game in Akron there, and that's 7:05 p.m. start time. Okay, thanks, Russ. Okay, this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor with, this is WO3X. Name here's John at the mic. Are there any other announcements or special announcements for the net? Please call Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. Okay, not hearing any. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor now asking for check-ins. Let me acknowledge each one at a time and until we get 5 of them, and then I'll go back to the first one to have the conversation.
Alpha Charlie 8 X-Ray Oscar.
AC8XO. Okay, I have you, Vince. Another one, please.
AB8OU in and out.
AB8OU in and out. Thanks for letting me know. Zeke, another check-in, please.
WA4WGA.
WA4WGA. I have you in there, Ray. Another check-in, please.
November 8 November Hotel in and out.
November 8 November Hotel. I have you in and out. Thanks for checking in, 73, and have a good evening. Another check-in, please.
November Victor 5 Hotel.
November Victor 5 Hotel, is that right? Okay, are you in or in and out?
No, sir, I'm in.
Okay, thanks. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 2 more. Go ahead.
8 Echo Zulu Tango.
W8EZT. Okay, Frank, I have you. And 1 more.
Tango Golf.
Who's the Yankee Tango Golf? Repeat.
Kilo Echo 8 Yankee Tango Golf.
Okay, we have you. We'll come back to you in a moment. There was somebody else there, but we'll get them on the next round. Okay, Vince, AC8XO, go ahead with your comments.
Good evening, John, and everybody else on the net. It's newsletter time, last day of the month. Hurry up and get them to me by midnight, or forget it, or whatever. Anyway, That's all I got, John. It's time for the newsletter, and I'll be putting it together here real soon. AC8XO, back to net.
Okay, Vince, thanks. Okay, people, you hear that? It's time to send your articles to Vince. Send them to newslettereditor@cfarc.org. That's one word, newslettereditor. Okay, that takes us to Ray, WA4WGA. Go ahead, Ray, with your comments.
Good day, John. First, as always, you tend to overdrive that radio when you talk. I don't know if you're just a naturally loud speaker, but you tend to overdrive that radio. Second, I'm just about ready to give up on the outside antenna. I've tried every avenue I can think of, but Springer Health Systems always comes back with a no. Let me let it drop. I've tried everything I can think of. I've even given them some names from various clubs to talk to. I've even told them it wouldn't be a roof-mounted antenna. I've told them it would be a ground-mounted outside antenna for dual band. And they've come back with a no. So I don't know whether to give up on it or what my next approach might be. So let me get a 20 to 25 foot pole up outside the building to get an antenna up. Let me let it drop. So I'd be interested in any suggestions that I haven't tried. Again, this is Springer Healthcare Systems that runs this place. And I suspect a fair number of these people don't know a whole lot about RF, and they certainly don't know a lot about ISM, industrial, scientific, and medical equipment. So my head is starting to hurt banging it against this particular wall. Anyway, I've got the All-Star node, and that brings me to another question. Drop. As we wait for the commercial, I wonder if there are any other All-Star conferences that I can poke around on. We've got the Blind Hams All-Star, the East Coast Reflector, the West Coast Reflector, and one in the UK, but I'm wondering if anybody else who's played with All-Star has any others that I haven't. So that's all we got here from the old folk home. I'll let you have it back, John, and as I said, again, you're a little hot with that radio. W8VPV, WA4WGA. Have a good day, sir.
Okay, Ray, well, I won't get so close to the microphone. Okay, well, I don't know anything about All-Star, and your signal is certainly very good into this repeater. I guess I'm not sure what all bands you want to do, but I see advertised, I forget what brand it is, it's either Diamond or Comet, that there's an antenna that does a lot of bands with a low SWR, and I forget how high up it goes in frequency, but I think it does all the HF bands except maybe 160 meters. And that might be something. I don't think it's real tall. Maybe you could just have it in your room there. I'm not sure. So that's my suggestion there. So with that, have a good evening, Ray, and good luck with that antenna situation and with your all-star situation. Okay, that takes us to, let's see, N8NH was in and out, and as was AB8OU, and so that takes us to November Victor 5 Hotel. Go ahead with your comments.
Good evening to the net. This is Ron. Karen and I really did enjoy spending field day with you. Biggest change is changed my call sign from Kilo Echo 5 Mike Delta Foxtrot to November Victor 5 Hotel. It's been a little bit of a change. Karen and I are getting ready to leave Friday. Gone for 2.5 months. And back here, coming back in October for some shoulder surgery, so we'll be around for about 6 months. Looking forward to spending some time with you. That's it. Everybody have a good night. This is November Victor 5 Hotel.
Okay, very good. Well, get that shoulder back in good shape for field day next year. So thanks for your participation in that this year, and hope to see you again next year with that. Okay, so 73, and have a good evening. That takes us to Whiskey 8 Echo Zulu Tango. Go ahead, Frank, with your comments.
Good evening, John, everybody out there. Don't have a lot to say tonight. Vince, if you're listening, I am working on some newsletter articles. I will try to get the first ones to you in the next hour or two. I've had a lot of just personal issues going on in my life this month, and just still catching up after field day. Other than that, I guess looking forward to the picnic coming up this August. As you mentioned, John, we need some volunteers to help make this thing happen. I believe there'll be a sign-up coming up pretty soon in the newsletter. I think Anthony's probably working on that now. And that's really about all I've got. So let me hand it back to you, John, and I will try to catch you on, was it 24? I don't remember the frequency now. I'll give it again once more, and I'll try to be up there tonight. W8EZT back to net.
Okay, Frank, it's 24.972. And are you going to have an article about Hamfest committee members that we need?
I was doing a general help wanted, and I was going to mention several committees, the Hamfest being one of them, but it wouldn't hurt if you wanted to write one of your own.
Okay, I'll do one too then. Right after the net here. So, okay, 24.972 megahertz, upper sideband. That's the 12-meter band. Okay, thanks for checking in, and hope to hear you later on the other net. So that takes us to KE8YTG, Yankee Tango Golf. Go ahead with your comments. KE8 Yankee Tango Golf. Go ahead with your comments, or correct, or give me a correction for the call if I have it wrong.
Yes, this is Kilo Echo 8 Yankee Tango Golf. I just wanted to say this is my very first contact, and I appreciate the reach out. Over.
W8VPV. Repeater.
Oh, okay, great. What's your name, please?
Steve Phillips.
Okay, Steve. Well, very good. Thanks for coming onto this net here, and hope to hear you with the other net next week. We have this same net every Monday evening, and then this is at 8:30. Starts at 8:30, and then starting at 9:30, we have a band exploration net, which operates on various bands. And next week, it will be on 6 meters on 50.270 megahertz. And the week after that, it will be on 10 meters on 28.360 megahertz. So if you only have a technician license, you can contact us on those two nets. So hope to hear from you. Over.
Roger on that. I have a general license, and I look forward to it. Thank you very much. Over.
Oh, okay, great. Then you can check in to all our nets, all our band exploration nets. So very good. Yeah, tonight's net, which is it's on a different band because it's a 5th Monday of a month, and it will be on 12 meters on 24.972 megahertz, and I will be the net control station for that also. So hope to hear from you, Steve. KE8YTG. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. Thanks for checking in, 73, and have a good evening. And so I'm asking for 5 more check-ins. Give me your call sign, and let me acknowledge each call sign.
K8HMS.
K8PU. Okay, I got K8HMS and K8PU. We'll get back with you two in a moment here. Another check-in, please.
K8KVI, in and out.
K8KVI, Ron, I have you in and out. Thanks for checking in, 73, and have a good evening. Another check-in, please.
KE8YIR, Barkin Hudson, in and out.
Let's see, repeat that again, Buck. Okay, I have you in and out. Let's see. I think it was KA8YTR or YIR, Buck. Okay, thanks, Buck, for checking in and in and out. Another check-in, please.
KE8HJB, in and out.
KE8HJB. Thanks, Dave. 73, and have a good evening. Another check-in, please.
Kilo Echo 8 Tango Quebec Romeo.
KE8TQR. I have you, and let's see, one more, please.
WD8MKS, in and out.
WD8MKS, I have you in and out. Thanks for checking in, 73, and have a good evening. Okay, one more, please.
KA8WTK, in and out. Thank you.
KA8WTK. Okay, Bill, I have you in and out. Okay, we'll go with this here. We'll go back up to the top of the list here. So K8HMS, go ahead, Steve, with your comments. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor with WO3X. Name here is John at the mic.
Yeah, W8VPV in the net, K8HMS. Yeah, good evening, John. Good evening, everybody. Good to hear you. Yeah, not much going on. Just enjoying the cooler weather. It'll be a little better for sleeping tonight, I guess. And, yeah, I guess that's about it. Did a little yard work today. Still trying to sell my boat. Hoping to get rid of that so I don't have to mess with it anymore. And that's it. I'll look for you on, what'd you say, 12 meters, I guess, or something. And, you know, I'm sure you'll be able to hear me, John. You usually do. So back to net, K8HMS.
Yeah, very good, Steve. Yeah, the frequency it's on 12 meters, like you said, and it's 24.972 megahertz. 24.972 megahertz, upper sideband. There was a guy that I used to work with, and he had a saying that the best days in a boat owner's life are the day they buy it and the day they sell it. So, but I'm sure you had a lot of good days in between. So, good luck with selling that, and I'll listen for you on 12 meters this evening. Okay, next is Larry, K8PU. Go ahead, Larry, with your comments.
Evening, John. Everybody on the net. Yeah, I go along with the boat thing. What they told me, it's hole in the water where you put money, and believe me, when I had one, I put lots of money in that hole in the water. And it is so true. This is not the best area for a boat anyways. So, unless you maybe go to Lake Erie or something, we didn't do that. Okay, nothing really exciting, John. Just enjoying the nice weather and awesome weather, actually. And almost August here. Seems like it's winding down quick. Okay, I'll catch you on 12 meters, 9:30. So back to you, John. WVPV, K8PU.
Okay, Larry, very good. Yeah, there's a guy, an amateur radio operator, Dave NTAD, who does sailing on Lake Erie with boats, and recently he built himself a boat, and he mentions on the Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association Tuesday night 2 meter net his progress, and he had a lot of fun doing that and overcoming some challenges in building that, but he built it from scratch, so that was quite an achievement there. And I don't know if he saved any money, but it sounded like he had a lot of fun building that boat. And so I haven't heard from him in the last couple of weeks, but I don't know if the weather was real good for sailing on Lake Erie recently, so I don't know if he had it out there yet or not. So we'll see how that goes. And so thanks for checking in, Larry, and I'll listen for you on 12 meters on 24.972 megahertz. You could probably use your 10 meter antenna for that. Okay, so that, let's see, Ron was in and out, and Buck was in and out, so that and Dave was in and out, so that takes us to Keith, KE8TQR. Go ahead, Keith, with your comments.
have one thing. If anyone knows anybody with a bucket truck that would like to make $3, you go to Business Powers Vertical Solutions. I'd like to have someone with a bucket truck. So if anybody out there does know someone, you can find my email address on the board dead. Just give me an email and let me know quick contact. Anyway, I want to say hi to everyone. Everyone has a great evening, a very pleasant week, and I will talk to everyone next Monday night. Take care. 73-88-TQR.
Okay, Keith, very good. I guess, I don't know if you heard Bill or not, N8LTR on the AriesNet, but he mentioned that he's the guy that got a demolition hammer and pounded in 12 of his 20 ground rods. Now, his challenge with his tower base was getting the concrete. It took he had that part of it done all last year, and he couldn't get concrete until this year. So hopefully you don't have that same problem getting concrete. Good luck with that, and let us know how you made out on the concrete. So it's good to hear you there, Keith, KE8TQR 73, and have a good evening. Okay, this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for more check-ins. I'll just take one at a time now.
KE8ULA.
KE8ULA, go ahead with your comments.
Good evening, John, and everyone on the net. Not much going on with me here today. It's been a long day for me. I just wanted to check in and say hello. I'm going to wait for you to repeat the announcements at the end of the net. I missed the comments. I thought I heard you say something about the bike and hike trail, but I missed the first part of the announcement. So I'll wait for you to repeat the announcements at the end. This is so back to the net, KE8ULA.
WA4WGA question.
Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, I was just curious about the propagation characteristics between 10, 11, and 12 meters, given as close as they are spectrum-wise, particularly 12 and 11 meters.
Yeah, the last time I ran the 10-meter net, the propagation was up, and that was 9:30. It started at 9:30, and I got contacts in from Kansas and Kentucky, and I thought there was one from Texas also. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of contacts we make tonight. So, okay, so back to Jim and Stowe. Let's see here. Yeah, the bike and hike. That was part of what I was talking about. CFARC to the field, which will be September 13th. And you can either set up at one of the hike and bike spots or in a park, and the locations will all be in the release advertisement on our website at www.cfarc. And we'll be doing that on September 13th from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. instead of a meeting. And we'll be doing the meeting then on the fourth Wednesday. So that's what that was about, but I'll be repeating that all at the end. Okay, so thanks, Jim, for checking in, and thanks, Ray, for your comment there. So this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for check-ins. Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for check-ins. Okay, not hearing any, then I'll go ahead with the announcements, and then I'll do one last call for check-ins. So as I was mentioning, on September 13th is going to be Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club to the field instead of a business meeting. We'll have that. We'll have the business meeting as our second meeting on the fourth Wednesday of September. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Russ, KD8VYT, mentioned that there is going to be a Rubber Ducks ball game event on September 2nd. That's a Saturday, and the game is at 7:05 p.m. There are 26 tickets left, so if you want to buy a ticket for that, you don't have to be a member of the Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association. And in fact, they want to have people from various clubs go for that activity. So if you want to buy a ticket, go to w8wky.org. That's Whiskey 8 Whiskey Kilo Yankee.org, and look for that activity on there, and you can buy your ticket and print out the paper, which you will take to the ball game park. Okay, so on August 9th will be our business meeting, and we will be discussing the 2024 Hamfest and other items. So attend that, and also we need Hamfest committee people, and Frank is going to write a newsletter article about about the field day committee, and so watch for those in the newsletter and sign up for activity on those committees. And let's see here. So August 23rd, there will be no activity meeting. That's the fourth Wednesday of August, because we will be having the club picnic. It will be in Waterworks Park, and there will be a link to sign up. So watch for that and sign up so that we know how many people are going to attend. Also, the picnic committee is another committee that we need to have some members on to help with to help Greg, WB8YYS, with that activity. Okay, and as I mentioned, the CFARC to the Field will be on September 13th from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And that is all amateur radio operators can participate, because that is a 10-meter sideband. There's also a 10-meter FM part to it, but technicians are not permitted to operate 10-meter FM, but they are permitted to do 10-meter phone in the 28.3 to 28.497 megahertz part of the 10-meter band. And also there'll be 6 meters and 2 meters and the 440 band. Watch for that on our website, www.cfarc.org, to see the description and also the log sheets, as well as the various list of parks. And you can operate from home to a park, and some of us will be operating from parks to homes. Now, it's not just parks, but and there'll be no home-to-home contacts that count for credit. And so there'll be a list of parks and also hike and bike locations where we can set up to operate. Again, that will be September 13th from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Let's see, that's all that I have in a way of announcements. So this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor with WO3X John at the mic. Last call for check-ins. Okay, not hearing any. In preparing to close this net, I would like to thank all of you who took the time to join us and check in tonight. Without your participation, there would be no net. This has been John and my call is WO3X, and it's been my pleasure to host this evening's net. At this time, I will close the net with 18 check-ins counting myself, and return the repeater to normal and customary amateur radio use. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor closing the net at 9:20 p.m. local time. 7-3.
88VYT, John, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Still here. Go ahead, Russ.
John, can you repeat the frequency for 12 meters one more time?
Okay, Russ, it's 24.972 megahertz, upper sideband.
Okay, I kept thinking that was it, but then my mind would question myself. All right, I'm just trying to see if you. I'm going to try and see you over there, but ain't no guarantees. KDAVYT 73.
Okay, Russ. Yeah, on these band exploration nets, we're trying to go with like 2.7 or 8.7. You know, like our 2-meter repeater frequency ends in. So one time we tried 24.987. But that's too close to the top of the band. which is at 24.990. So, with some bandwidth issues, we'd be out of the band. So we decided to go to 24.972. And 24.927 is not in the voice section of that band. So that's how we ended up with this 24.972. That's the story behind that. So I'll listen for you there. KD8VYT, this is WO3X. I'll be clear, and I'll be going to the 12-meter band.
Port. Link off. W8VPV. Repeater. PL110.9. W8VPV. Repeater.